Good evening everyone. Welcome back to Believers IAS Academy, Bengaluru. This is the everyday news analysis, and today I have taken up some 6 to 7 articles from various newspapers such as the Hindu, Indian Express, Down to Earth, and we will be discussing the topics. Okay. So without any delay, we will start discussion. The first article is from the Indian Express, which talks about 5 women who helped draft the constitution. So there is an explained article which talks about stories of women who helped draft the Constitution of India. Yesterday, that is November 26, was celebrated as the Constitution Day of India, and on that regard, yesterday there were many articles explaining the significance of Constitution Day, and one of the article tried to explain the contribution of women to the drafting of Constitution. So the Constituent Assembly had 299 members, out of which 15 members were women, including prominent figures such as Sarojini Naidu, Sucheta Kripalani, Vijayalakshmi Pandit, but there are also certain lesser known women representing the diverse backgrounds. We know these people, Sarojini Naidu, Sucheta Kripalani, Vijayalakshmi Pandit, these are known people and we have learnt about them in the history classes also. So today in this article is focusing on the lesser known women representing the diverse backgrounds and interests, okay, belonging to various religious communities and etc. Before we learn about them, these are the 15 members who were part of Constituent Assembly. Okay, Ammu Swaminathan, she was a social worker and political activist. Durga Bhai Deshmukh, she was a fierce freedom fighter who fought in civil disobedience movement as well as Quit India movement. And Purnima Banerjee, again she used to participate in civil disobedience movement. Sucheta Kripalani, she is the freedom fighter as well as the first women chief minister. And then Rajkumari Amrit Kaur, even being a Rajkumari, even being the princess of a kingdom, she fought for Indian freedom movement. Okay, and then Annie Mascarenhas, she is a freedom fighter and the member of Constituent Assembly. And then Hansa Jeevaraj Mehta served as a consultant assembly in 1946-92, and Dakshayani Velayudan, first and only Dalit woman in the Constituent Assembly. This is very important, Dakshayani Velayudan. And Leela Roy, she was a feminist as well as a freedom fighter and a social worker. And then Renika Roy, freedom fighter, social activist and politician. And Vijayalakshmi Pandit, okay, she was a great freedom fighter and she was the first women cabinet minister of India. And then Sarojini Naidu, freedom fighter, noted poetress, she was also called as Nightingale because of her lyrics, and she was also the first Indian women president of, okay, first Indian women president of INC. Okay, who is the first women president of INC? Do write out in the comment box. Okay, and Indian women president is Sarojini Naidu, and then there was Malati Chaudhary, who was a fighter and Constituent Assembly member from Odisha, and then Begum Aizaz Rasul, the only Muslim woman to be member of the Constituent Assembly. So these belong to diverse backgrounds, Dakshayani Velayudan, Begum Aizaz Rasul, and then Annie Mascarenhas, Ammu Swaminathan, sorry. So these are the people we are going to have a discussion about today. So now, so the news is, we are in the news because Constituent Assembly, so Constituent Day, that is November 26, President Murmu acknowledged the significant role of women members in the Constituent Assembly of India. Okay, she has called on the meeting where she addressed these important women. So the 5 important notable women in Constituent Assembly are: first one, Ammu Swaminathan, from 1894 to 1978. Okay, so she was the co-founder of Women's India Association in 1917 with other leaders like Annie Besant, advocated for women's education rights, spoke on the Hindu Code Bill and gender equality in the Constituent Assembly. She became the first woman elected to Madras legislature. This is also very important, first woman elected to Madras legislature. After independence, she served as India's goodwill ambassador to countries like Russia, China and USA. This becomes very important, Women's India Association as well as Madras legislature's first woman electee. And then there is Annie Mascarenhas. So there is nothing much for me to explain here, it is just facts here. So do take out a note and try to make notes of these things. Okay, UPSC tends to ask questions from Indian modern history, especially regarding the women. Okay, because most of the other questions are already saturated, already have been asked, but questions from contributions of women in Indian freedom struggle or Indian Constituent Assembly become very important from UPSC prelims perspective. Okay, so then Annie Mascarenhas, she was born in Travancore to Latin Christian family, considered at the bottom of caste system, and then she advocated universal adult franchise and against the caste based voting rates. Okay, joined Travancore State Congress and fought for the political representation of marginalized communities. As a member of Constituent Assembly, she called for a strong center and autonomy for local governments. Okay, so strong center and local governments. She was elected as an independent candidate in 1952 from the Thiruvananthapuram. Okay, she didn't belong to any party and she was elected as independent candidate. Okay, and then Begum Qudsiya Aizaz Rasul. Okay, Begum Qudsiya Aizaz Rasul. She was the only only Muslim woman to be present in Constituent Assembly. Hailing from the prominent family in Punjab, she faced resistance for her education with fatwa issued against her convent schooling. Fought for women rights and opposed separate electorates based on the religion. Okay, so she was an exception to Muslim leaders of that time, because Muslim leaders of that time, especially All India Muslim League, advocated for separate electorates to Muslim. Okay, All India Muslim League, but she was an opposite of those separate electorates. She was from prominent family in Punjab and she faced resistance because she advocated for education, and there is a fatwa issued against her in convent schooling. Okay, fatwa in the sense the fatwas will be released issued by Maulanas, like religious leaders of Muslims or Islam, who issue fatwa calling for their head or calling for their assassination because they are going against the Muslim ideals or Islam ideals. And then she stayed in India post participation and joined the Indian National Congress, elected to the Rajya Sabha in 1952, and helped to promote women's hockey in India. Okay, so even being belonging to Muslim community, she promoted women education. She remained in India post partition, where most of the Muslim leaders went to Pakistan, and then she also promoted women education and women hockey. And next it is Drakshayani Velayudan. She is the first Dalit woman to graduate in science and first Dalit woman to be woman in Cochin Legislative Council. She becomes very important. You can expect a prelims question in this year's UPSC. Okay, Drakshayani Velayudan. She advocated for nationalism and opposed separate electorate for Dalits. Okay, this is again against the ideals of B.R. Ambedkar. Okay, we know everything about second roundtable conference, how B.R. Ambedkar wanted separate electorates for Dalits, and he got awards in communal awards by Ramsay MacDonald. Communal awards given by Ramsay MacDonald, which advocated for separate electorates to Dalits, and later it was passed away because of Pune Pact. But she opposed separate electorates for Dalits. She strongly committed to social justice despite facing discrimination. After independence, she remained involved in the Dalit movement and continued advocating for social justice. Okay, so these are the women of great resolve. So these persons should be remembered and should be celebrated. And then Renuka Ray, she came from an affluent family with a civil servant father and a progressive mother. Okay, so that is why many of the women who like about whom we are reading here, they come from an affluent family or a family which has a progressive outlook. Okay, and then joined freedom struggle after meeting Mahatma Gandhi in 1920, advocated for women's rights, particularly on divorce and inheritance. She represented women's organizations in the Central Legislative Assembly in 1943. She opposed women's reservation in legislatures, seeing it as an hindrance to women's growth. See, recently we provided 33% reservation to women in legislature. Nari Shakti Abhiyan. Okay, Nari Shakti Abhiyan. It advocated for reservation to women, but she was against that idea because she said that it acts as a hindrance to women's growth. Women shouldn't be focusing on reservation, instead they should fight on their own. That was her ideals. And then after losing the 1952 elections, she returned to the politics and worked on the women's empowerment. Okay, these are the 5 women which we discussed in today's article. Okay, do make a note out of these people. They are very important from business perspective. And then the second article is about Constitution Day of India. So there were many articles in yesterday's and today's also. So in there is a today's article, there was an article in news article in the Hindu. Two barbs about unelected judiciary, CJI says judges walk the razor's edge. So whatever the speeches given here is not important. We'll understand what is Constitution Day of India and what is the significance of it. Okay, so Constitution Day of India or Samvidhan Divas or National Law Day is celebrated annually on November 26 to honor the adoption of Constitution of India by the Constituent Assembly on this day in 1949. Okay, in 2023 prelims there was a question on the same topic, Constitution Day. Statement 1 was November 26 celebrated as Constitution Day, and the reason behind it is on that day drafting committee was constituted. Okay, so here statement 1 was right, but statement 2 was wrong, because drafting committee was constituted way before this one only, on 26 November 1949. It was the day on which Indian government accepted the constitution. They adopted the constitution. This is the date which is present in the preamble of India. Okay, though we celebrate January 26 as the Republic Day, the main important day or the day present in November 26, the day present in preamble is November 26, and as honor of this one, Constitution Day is celebrated. Okay, and then the year marks 75th anniversary, a monumentous occasion reflecting on India's constitutional journey and its enduring principle. So the historical context is the Constitution of India was adopted on November 26, 1949 and came into effect on January 26, 1950, and January 26, 1950 was chosen as a date because way back in 1930 Indian Congress leaders or INC leaders chose this January 26 and started celebrating it as the Independence Day or Sampurna Swaraj Divas or Independence Day. So in order to commemorate, in order to remember these auspicious date, they choose January 26 as the date for Republic Day. So but this date also has a significant historical context or significance from historical perspective. That is why this date is considered as Constitution Day of India. And then Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the chief architect of Constitution, expressed both optimism and apprehension about the India's ability to preserve its independence and maintain the values enshrined in the Constitution. So his optimism and apprehensions both proved to be right. Optimism proved right in the sense that India still follows constitutionalism. Apprehensions proved right in the sense that many of the amendments have been made till now, around 106 amendments, out of which amendments like 42nd amendment, which is called as mini constitution, they tried to tamper with the very basic idea of Constitution of India. So both the apprehensions as well as opportunities or optimism have been proved right. And then significance of November 26 is it was declaration as Constitution Day. The government officially recognized it as a Constitution Day in 2015 following an announcement by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. The day aims to raise awareness among citizens about the Constitution and its core values of justice, equality, liberty and fraternity. Okay. So it is a very recent phenomenon. Before 2015 there was no Constitution Day, but after 2015, commemorating the significance of the day, we started celebrating Constitution Day. And Ambedkar vision, where Dr. Ambedkar famously said, if things go wrong under the Constitution, the reason will not be that we had a bad Constitution. What we will have is to say, what we will have to say is that man was vile. Okay, he says that Constitution is not bad. If the things go wrong, because things go wrong instead, it is not because of Constitution. It is because of human beings present in India. His words underscore the importance of human conduct in the success of constitutional governance. This is about Constitutional Day. And then there was an article in PIB as well as the Hindu. The article was Central Government Scheme to Promote Natural Farming launched. Okay, we will see what is the scheme and what is the significance of the scheme. So news is recently Union Cabinet approved National Mission on Natural Farming, a centrally sponsored scheme by Agriculture Ministry to promote natural farming nationwide on a mission mode. So before you understand the scheme, we will try to understand natural farming. So natural farming, as defined by the Agriculture Ministry, it is a chemical free agricultural system that relies solely on the inputs derived from livestock and plant resources. These are the resources which are obtained from the nature itself. So these are completely chemical free. This approach emphasizes the use of local agroecological principles and traditional knowledge, which integrating crops, trees and livestock to enhance biodiversity and soil health. Okay, so this is natural farming according to Agriculture Ministry. The aim of natural farming is to rejuvenate soil quality while minimizing the external inputs, thus reducing the cost for farmers and promoting healthier food production. Okay, there are two twin benefits. One is soil quality will be regained, and second is input cost for farmers will reduce, because the inputs in natural farming are taken from the derived from the livestock and plant resource itself, from the nature itself. So there is no need for spending extra money on these inputs such as chemicals. Okay, and then how is National Mission for Natural Farming different from earlier interventions? So NMNF represents an evolution of previous initiatives, particularly Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Paddhati, which was launched in 2019. So there was a scheme already present, that is Bharatiya Prakrit Krishi Paddhati, which was launched in 2019, but this one is different because it has a higher budgetary outlays. NMNF has a total outlay of 2,481 crore with the 1,584 crore from central government and the 897 crore from states until 2025 to 2026, since it is a centrally sponsored scheme. And then it is targeting more farmers. The mission aims to engage over 1 crore farmers, significantly expanding its reach compared to earlier efforts. And then establishment of standards, it seeks to create scientifically supported standards and streamlined certification processes for naturally grown produce, along with the national brand for such products. Okay. And then why is it necessary to diversify farming basket? Okay, why do you need to diversify farming basket? Because it promotes environmental sustainability. Reducing the chemical inputs helps restore soil health and biodiversity, making agriculture more resilient to climate change. Okay, and then economic viability, promoting local inputs and reducing dependency on the purchased fertilizers. Farmers can lower their costs and increase their product profitability, meaning input cost will reduce and the overall outcome or overall profit will increase. And then food security, a diverse agriculture system can lead to improved food quality and nutrition security for communities. Okay, so these are the advantages of promoting diversifying farming market. And then why a mission on natural farming is needed? Okay, why it is needed? Because presently we are facing the problem of excessive fertilizer uses. The initiative targets districts with high fertilizer consumption, aiming to shift practices towards more sustainable methods that rejuvenate soil health and produce environmental degradation. So there are NPK. Okay, NPK, that is nitrogen, urea, phosphate and potassium. Okay, NPK, these should be in the ratio of 4:1:2:1 in India, but presently the ratio at which these are being used is 8.2:3:1. Okay, so there is disproportionate use of urea or like nitrogen based fertilizers, which is adversely impacting soil health. Okay, we often talk about positive impacts of green revolution, and one of the major negative impact of green revolution is that the soil quality of the region where green revolution was implemented is going on decreasing, decreasing in the soil quality because of the excessive use of these NPK during the implementation of green revolution. So that is why there is a need to move away from these chemical inputs and move towards natural inputs, so that it will help in improving the soil quality. And then there are health risks also, because if you are using chemicals based fertilizers, because there is rainfall, and that like these are leached away to the ponds, leached away to rivers, or else these are sucked up by the plants, and it can have a negative impact on the health also, because if we consume the water or if we consume products which are born out of these fertilizers, there is every chance that you are going to consume the chemicals also, which can biomagnify and have an impact on your health. So by eliminating synthetic chemicals from farming, the mission aims to lower health risk associated with pesticide exposure for both farmers and consumers. And then climate resilience, that is natural farming practices, enhances resilience against climate related challenges such as droughts, floods, by improving the soil structure and water retention capabilities. So these are the positives, these are the need for natural farming mission. And then way forward is we should focus on policy and infrastructure support, meaning we should strengthen institutional frameworks by expanding bio input resource centers, offering financial incentives, and ensuring easy access to natural farming resources and certification systems. Okay, and then we should also focus on awareness and capacity building. Just bringing the mission is not important, not necessary. We should also create awareness. Okay, when there is awareness, when there is information, only then they can take the decision based on information. Okay, only then people tend to move towards natural farming. Conduct large scale training programs for farmers on natural farming practices, promote successful models through Krishi Vigyan Kendras, and foster collaborations with agriculture universities for research and innovation. So this is about national mission on natural farming. Okay, NF. Next, there is another article in the Hindu about cyclone Fangal. Okay, so the news is there is a depression over the southwest Bay of Bengal, has intensified into deep depression and is likely to further intensify cyclone Fangal into cyclone Fangal. Okay, what is depression? What is deep depression? Okay, this depression and deep depression are based on the low pressure level as well as velocity. Okay, before you declare any low pressure into cyclone, there are 5 steps. First one is it will create a low pressure. Around this low pressure there will be depression. Okay, there will be depression, meaning it will start attracting winds around the depression. After depression there will be deep depression. Okay, deep depression, meaning the low pressure has intensified and it is absorbing wind as well as clouds. After deep depression there is storm. Okay, the storm is the next level with a higher velocity, and after storm the final one is cyclonic storm. Okay, this is characterized by very high velocity of winds, very high velocity and very high rate of rains, etc., etc. So now this cyclone Fangal is at the stage of deep depression. So that is why news becomes important. So some is currently close to an area with high sea surface temperatures, contributing to its potential intensification of cyclonic storm. Okay, next. So what is the origin of name Fangal? The name Fangal was proposed by Saudi Arabia and is rooted in Arabic. It reflects the combination of linguistic tradition and cultural identity. Okay, so there was in 2018 I guess there was a question in UPSC mains around naming process of cyclones. How do you name cyclones? Okay, there are many cyclones which are named as Titli, then there are cyclones named as Yas, there are cyclones named as Fangal. How these cyclones are named? Okay, these are named by different countries. So there is a process. The process is cyclones in the North Indian Ocean are named by the World Meteorological Organization and the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific. The panel includes 13 member countries such as India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and Pakistan, and among others. Each member country submits a list of potential cyclone names, and these names are used subsequently or sequentially as cyclones from the region. Okay, so this system is in place since 2004, ensures easy identification and effective communication of storms to the public. Okay, so all these countries will provide certain list of names to be used for the cyclones, and they have a time period of 2 years. For 2 years it goes on shifting from one country to another country. The responsibility of naming shift from one country to another country. That is why 1 year there will be naming by Bangladesh, another year will be named by Pakistan, another year India, another year Saudi Arabia, etc., etc. Then a brief discussion about cyclones. Okay, so what are cyclones? So cyclones are in a simple word, these are atmospheric disturbances, and these are characterized by wind systems that rotate inward towards an area of low atmospheric pressure. So the categories are tropical cyclones, which are temperature induced, and then there is temperate cyclones, which are also called as extratropical, and they are result of air mass induced. Okay, so in cyclones there is a low pressure zone. When there is a low pressure, wind tends to move towards it from high pressure areas. So the wind starts moving towards the low pressure areas, and they will turn to bend to right in the northern hemisphere and bend to left in the southern hemisphere, and as a result, when they start bending, they will form a spiraling kind of formation. This is called a cyclone. And then the geographic causes are tropical cyclones form under specific conditions, that is warm sea surface which is greater than 27 degrees Celsius, Coriolis forces it is necessary, and there should be a pre-existing low pressure system, and small vertical wind speed differences, upper air divergences, meaning if the air is coming and gathering here, when it moves up, there should be divergence. Okay, air should diverge, and then it is a closed system. It acts as a feedback to, or it feeds the cyclone continuously. So it will rise up, and it moves outward. So it is diverging. Okay, so at the lower level it is converging, at the higher level, at the upper level it is diverging. Okay, these are the certain conditions. You should remember all these conditions because there have been many questions asked about this in both prelims and mains. And then features are cyclones form over warm water bodies due to the energy derived from condensation of warm water in cumulonimbus clouds. Okay, and wind's rotation is influenced by Coriolis force, causing anti-clockwise rotation in the northern hemisphere and clockwise rotation in the southern hemisphere. Cyclone activity halts around 30 degree latitude, where the warmth that fuels the cyclone diminishes. Okay, meaning cyclones tend to stop, or tend to end, or tend to die at 30 degree latitude because the warmth that fuels the cyclone diminishes. Okay, so this is about cyclones. And then there was an article in the PIB which talked about National Milk Day. Okay, so what is National Milk Day? National Milk Day is also observed on November 26 along with Constitution Day. It commemorates the birth anniversary of milkman of India, that is Dr. Varghese Kurian. He is the milkman of India who was credited with the making of India self-reliant in milk production. Okay, he is also called as the father of White Revolution. Okay, who is the father of Green Revolution? Swaminathan. Okay, who recently died. Then the father of White Revolution is Dr. Varghese Kurian. So details is, it is observed on 26 to honor Varghese Kurian industry, his contribution to India's dairy industry and the White Revolution. It celebrates India's transformation into world's largest milk producer. At present we are the world's largest milk producer, which is not the case so before White Revolution. And then the various contributions made by Varghese Kurian are, he was born in November 26, 1921 in the Kozhikode or Kozhikode in Kerala. He played a key role in establishing Amul, which is a cooperative based in Gujarat, and transforming it into a global dairy brand. Inaugural chairman of National Dairy Development Board, led Operation Flood, which revolutionized India's dairy industry and made it self-sufficient in milk production. He received numerous awards, including a Ramon Magsaysay Award for his community leadership. Okay, Ramon Magsaysay Award, it is provided for leaders as well as like journalists. Okay, and so about the White Revolution and the milk production in India. So White Revolution was initiated in 1970 through Operation Flood to increase milk production and reduce dependence on the milk powder imports. So empowered dairy farmers by promoting cooperative based model for milk production such as Amul, and in Karnataka Nandini. By the 1990s, India became world's largest milk producer, surpassing the USA. Okay, within 20 years we were able to surpass largest country in the world in terms of milk production, that is USA. Milk production grew threefold from 21.2 million tons in 1968 to around 55 million tons by 1991-92. It helped build the infrastructure for milk supply chains, processing plants and storage facilities, making milk more accessible. It significantly improved the income and livelihood of rural farmers, boosting employment as well as economic development. Okay, so at present, India is ranked first in milk production, contributing 24% of global milk production, reaching 230.58 million tons in 2020 to 2023. Okay, so just imagine from 21 million tons in 1969 to 230, almost 10 times increase in around 60 years. Okay, that is the significance of milk revolution or Operation Flood, which was headed by Morgis Korean. That is why, in order to commemorate his celebrations, in order to celebrate his contributions, we are celebrating National Milk Day. Okay, and there was news articles about Penaya River in PIB. So, okay, this is Penaya River. It originates in Karnataka and passes through Tamil Nadu to Bay of Bengal. Okay, and then we will see what is the news. The news is Supreme Court has directed Union government to submit the report on the Tamil Nadu Karnataka Penaya River water dispute. Okay, so Karnataka and Tamil Nadu being a neighboring states and sharing many interstate rivers have always been dealt with many interstate disputes. Major one is Kaveri interstate dispute, and other significant important disputes are Penaya River dispute. So we will understand what is Penaya River. Penaya River is, which is also known as Tenpennai. It originates on the eastern slope of Nandidurga Hills. Okay, Nandidurga Hills in Karnataka, and flows through Tamil Nadu into Bay of Bengal. Okay, Nandidurga Hill in Karnataka is very significant. Okay, so if this is the peak, it has rivers originating from it and flowing in all the directions. So this is a radial type of drainage. So that is why it becomes important. It flows through Karnataka, Tamil Nadu into Bay of Bengal. The length is around 497 km, which is second longest in Tamil Nadu, and catchment area is about 3,690 km. So even though it originates in Karnataka, 77% of the drainage basin lies in Tamil Nadu. Okay, it is bounded by Velikonda, Nagarai, Javadu, Shaurai, Chitteri, and Kalarayan hills of Eastern Ghats. These are all the important smaller hills of Eastern Ghats. Velikonda, Nagarai, Javadi, Shaurai, etc. etc. It lies in the tropical monsoon zone with monsoons from June to December, as well as non-monsoon January May to periods. These are the periods which result in rainfall for this Penaya River. Okay, during monsoon it gets rainfall in Karnataka. During non-monsoon it gets rainfall from Tamil Nadu. And then there is tributaries. Tributaries of Penaya River include Makarandani, okay, Markanda Nandi, Kambayanallur, Pambar, Vaniyar, Kallar, Valayar Vadai, Pambanar, Alayar, Musukudanandi, and Turinjandar. Okay, these are all the important rivers which act as a tributary to Penaya River. It is supported by monsoonal rains and reservoirs like Kelavarapalli, Krishnagiri, and Satanuru dams. And then important sites along its basin are it mentioned in Sangam literature for its lush vegetation. Important temples include Penneshwara temple, Dakshina Tirupati, Venkateshwara temple, and Kabiluru Kundru. So it is significant not only from the natural way, it is also significant from cultural aspect also. So Sri Viliputturu Grizzled Squirrel Wildlife Sanctuary is a key protected area near the river. The use for irrigation districts of Chikkaballapura, Bengaluru Rural, Kolar, Krishnagiri, Dharmapuri, Tiruvannamalai, Viluppuram, and Kuddalur. So these are the districts which are benefiting out of Penaya River. Okay, this is small discussion. And the last article for today is NGT issues notice to center on expansion of glacial lakes. Okay, so what is NGT? NGT is National Green Tribunal has taken suo motu cognizance of the alarming rise in number of Himalayas glacial lakes due to rising temperatures, highlighting the growing risk of natural disasters like floods and landslides. Okay, what are glacial lakes? Suppose this is Himalayas. Okay, suppose this is Himalaya. Normally this Himalaya is covered by glaciers or ice, okay, snow melt. Because of the global rise in temperature, global warming, this snow or this glacier is melting away, and it is melting away and it is forming lakes in the suppressions. Suppose this is the suppression and the water is getting filled here, and this is forming as a lake. This is called as glacial lake. Okay, glacial lake. But the problem here is, because of increasing global temperatures, increasing global warming, the more amount of water is getting filled in this glacial lakes, and in certain times what is happening here is the water is flooding away from the glacial lake, resulting glacial lake outburst flood, okay, which was recently seen in Sikkim, okay, which was also seen in Joshimath in Uttarakhand. So because of increasing temperatures, glacial lakes are happening, and they might have negative implications on the property and people in the particular areas. So this was put into action or taken by NGT. Okay, NGT has alarmed the governments about glacial lakes, so we should take some preventive actions. So there is a Central Water Commission's report on glacial lake. So glacial lake in Himalayas have expanded by 10.81% in 13 years due to glacier melting, which is caused by rising temperatures. And then between 2011 and 2024, India's glacial lakes grew by 33.7%, highlighting the escalating threat. The NGT noted that 67 lakes in India saw a surface area increase of over 40%, marking them as high risks of GLOF. The GLOF is glacial lake outburst floods. And then the key areas of expansion include Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh, all the Himalayan states of India. Now a brief discussion about National Green Tribunal. National Green Tribunal, it was formed in 2010 under National Green Tribunal Act. So it is a statutory body. It is aimed at addressing environmental issues and ensuring speedy implementation of decisions. It is known for making significant decisions, including addressing air pollution in Delhi and cancelling coal block clearances. And the composition includes, it is headquartered in Delhi, chaired by a retired Supreme Court judge, and includes judicial members as well as expert panels. It not only includes judicial members, it also includes expert panels from environmental field. And then the benches of NGT, the principal bench is in Delhi with additional benches in Bhopal, Pune, Kolkata and Chennai. Okay, the functions or powers are, it is empowered to decide on cases related to various environmental laws and hear civil cases concerning the environmental issues, and it is responsible for enforcement of, this is very important, which of the laws NGT can enforce is Water Act, that is Water Prevention and Control Act of 1974, Air Prevention and Control Act of 1981, Environment Protection Act of 1886 and more. And the exceptions, that is, it cannot hear cases under Indian Forest Act of 1927, Wildlife Protection Act of 1972. This is very important. These two acts, very important acts, but these cannot be heard by NGT. Okay, state laws related to the protection of trees and forests, and the state laws cannot also be heard under NGT. These are certain exceptions limitations of NGT. And then the governing principles are governed by the principle of natural justice, and it is not bound by the Indian Evidence Act. Okay, so Indian Evidence Act has been replaced by another act, Bharatiya Sakshya Abhinaya. Okay, Bharatiya Sakshya Abhinaya, that is a new law which has replaced Indian Evidence Act, and it applies to the principles of sustainable development, precautionary approach and polluter pays principles. These are the principles on which NGT functions, and there are certain review and challenge provided. So if the NGT provides any decree or any orders, this can be reviewed under Rule 22 of NGT rules. Orders can be challenged before the Supreme Court within 90 days. Okay, this is about NGT and this is about today's newspaper discussion. Today I hopefully understood more of today's newspaper articles. If you understood anything out of it, if you gained anything out of it, please hit the like button and also comment certain suggestions for me and also share with your friends. If you have any doubts regarding newspaper or any subject, you can also write in the comment box. We'll discuss on this one. With this, I will end the session. Jai Hind.